it! Our live stream event is happening. Joined by Danger. Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining us. I think you might be able to see Ellen on the end. We're just gonna go down and like introduce ourselves just really quickly.
If you want to start? Yeah. Oh man. So I'm Alan. I'm COO of Runic Games.
I'm Patrick. I'm the director and lead level designer on Hub.
I'm John. I'm the lead gameplay programmer and the lead animator.
that won't make our lead animator upset in any way. Who actually just bailed, so that's kind of funny. I'm Wonder Russell. I run PR.
And I'm Marsh Lefler. I program and president of Runic.
He programs and he presidents.
Yep.
So if you saw our last video, you know that Patrick and Marsh kind of did the walkthrough of the forest area. Kind of took you through that. That was just uploaded to YouTube. We wanted to live stream this one so we could talk with you guys in real time and just kind of go through. So we're going to go into the electric dungeon. And zones have dungeons beneath them, right? So this is like a big part of the electric overworld. This isn't a dungeon below forest.
Right, yeah. So there's lots of different sections to the world, and what we showed in the last video was the forest area. And what we're showing today is a dungeon below another themed area, which is an electrical area, and this is kind of the underbelly of that area.
Right. And it's compared to we had both of these playable at PAX West still a few months ago. And compared to Forest, they're a little bit different. And if you've seen the previous video, you'll see we kind of talk about Forest as like a little more like get off the beaten path, a little more exploration. Electric is a little more linear.
Yeah, there's in the game. There's obviously a reason you're going down here. There's something going on with the power in the area, and you're kind of exploring to figure out what's happening and to see how you can kind of restore it, because it all kind of ties together above world, allowing you access to other things that you can get to when the power's kind of in the situation that it is in right now.
Right.
And part of the reason we had both of these things at PAX is that we have the organic world that we have. You can see the main menu. It's full of trees and grass and rocks, but the center of the planet's a little different. Like once you get underneath the surface, the natural veneer, yeah, it's a little different inside. So
right. And how far along in the game are we when we're gonna hit the electric dungeon?
We are maybe like 10%.
Like how many do you think in normal gameplay? Like in a couple hours in?
Probably about 70 hours in.
Yeah.
About 400. So about like a month in.
700.
Just
You'll hit
it. Good.
I think it will depend on the player. It depends really because the world is it's how you really want to explore it. You can definitely speed run it, get there pretty quick. Or, you can go and just look around, find everything, and it'll take you a couple hours to get there. And so it really depends on how you want to play the game.
Depends on your gameplay style.
I would say the average person is probably going to take an hour, probably, easily, maybe longer.
It's pretty early in the game now.
Yeah, but I mean, we all kind of speed run it, so it's hard for us to say how long it actually takes.
How far that is.
Yeah.
Watching people play through, though, I would say it's about an hour.
Okay.
Not a little bit.
If you're just joining us, welcome. We are here at Runic Games, and we are doing a live stream of the Electric Dungeon that was playable at PAX West just a few months ago. And this is kind of like a follow-up to the YouTube video that we did was a walkthrough, and this time we're going to just live stream the next area. Patrick is going to start, and we'll do a Q&A afterward. We've got Brian, our community manager, over there. He's monitoring questions, and we also have your questions from the forums, and we'll get through as many as we can. So let's take it away.
All right, let's go ahead and jump in. I've always liked that intro.
Me too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we can't hear any of the game sound because of the way we've set it all up, so it's a little spooky in here for us.
It is. It's a little odd to not hear it. And so if you guys have any problems with sound or anything, let us know. And we have people monitoring the chat so we can help out.
Some of these vista shots are here. So I just love that feeling of like so much more out there.
Yeah. And I have to say, this is a little Torchlight reminiscent to be down in the dungeon.
Blue fog.
Yeah, blue fog. Like level descents into blue fog.
Some like light up blue.
We should also bring up this dungeon that you're walking to right now. We actually kind of put it together from other things, from another dungeon, to be an intro to the electric dungeon. So this is actually a different dungeon than we're actually split into two.
No one cares.
Yeah, I guess.
But yeah, I remember like it's funny that this looks kind of like Torchlight, even though it's a completely different game. Because when we set out to make it, like one of the goals was to make something that was very different from Torchlight.
Yeah.
Because we made so many in a row, we made like a lot of action RPGs, and I was just like, can we drive a guy around with a controller, for once instead of clicking with the mouse?
It wanted to be much more tactile.
Mm-hmm.
Just grab stuff, you can climb on stuff.
Yeah, the controls feel really good. So yeah, this is kind of we've shown different glove abilities in the past, and this is kind of where you get a new glove ability that you use in the dungeon following this. And this is kind of the setup for where you get these. We are working on something to change these to be a little bit different, a little bit cooler. But this represents where you get your new glove ability.
Work in progress.
Yeah.
So imagine a cool machine there.
Well, we also just had a question about music and sound in general, and that's one thing I was going to say. So you probably heard music at the start menu, but there's no music in the dungeon.
Yeah, currently we're trying without no music in the dungeons and kind of pumping up the more of the ambient sounds to kind of give it a rhythm. And we're still experimenting with that. We don't know where we'll land exactly, but I kind of like the contrast personally of it helps separate the above ground stuff from the below ground.
Yeah, I do. It feels like you almost get a sense of I think Cochun's sound design down here really resonates. You get a sense of how big it is, and the way things echo.
It sounds like it's echoing. So I just got our what we're calling a warp glove, and the warp glove you can see is really cool. I can warp distances. Some creatures you can warp through and it'll have different effects, right, John?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'll slow the monsters down, so it'll be really useful in combat. You can dodge attacks and you can warp through the monster and like stab him in the back, and he'll be slowed down or affected by the warp through for a second.
Yeah. So another thing that this glove plays off of is what we have here, our warp pads, and you can get on these, and these are kind of like faster travel mechanics to get around in areas, and a lot of puzzles are tied to kind of rearranging these and configuring them so that you can use them to get to new areas. So obviously we have our tutorial prompt from the demo here, and you can see it warp me to another one, just kind of a basic intro, and then right away we kind of show you, well, if I don't die.
You didn't die because I made it so you didn't.
That's true. Here's how you can reconfigure these. This is the most basic form, just to give you a hint that see now you open up new opportunities. So it's just kind of a quick intro to what the glove does initially before you get down.
And the arrows kind of show you which direction you're going. So if you know you want to get to a different area, you have to figure out the puzzle of how you like align those, right?
Yeah,
kind of like make a pathway.
We've since revisited this particular room in this dungeon and added more to it that's not in this demo, but there's more options now that are cooler and that make trying to rotate things differently a lot. You might find some secrets and stuff now if you play around with that.
We didn't want to show you the cool version.
Secrets are so fun. We gotta find all the secrets. There's a bunch.
No one's gonna find all the secrets.
There's 32,000 secrets.
In this level alone.
If you want a platinum trophy.
I think that'll actually be a really hard achievement, to finding all the secrets and all the.
That would be really cool.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
So here we are. This is kind of a
What's that
bigger
thing?
space. This. These are our.
What happens if you put your hand on that and then jump right off the walkway?
Oh man.
Oh, that's
there
good
you
to
go.
know.
So these are our kind of save stations, save/respawn stations. These are similar to our kind of bonfires for Hob. So whenever you see one of those, you definitely want to use it so it kind of records your position, and that's where you respawn if you have to die. Intentionally or unintentionally. I'm going to show this too. It's kind of
Yeah,
cool
I
little
love
thing.
that moment.
These are one of our vista moments, and we have kind of several vista moments that kind of just show you anything, just something neat to see,
Like
or kind of
you
foreshadowing.
can see stairs way down there in the distance, which I love. Is just kind of like
look at all the stuff we couldn't do in Torchlight. Look at all this camera movement and like climbing up and down things and
So why
walkways underneath other walkways. I'm sorry.
Jesus.
Never. Right.
How those birds get all the way down here.
Yeah, how did they fly in here?
There's, see how the skylight? You can see where the sun's streaming in, right? So look through that.
We're actually only
Yeah.
6 feet below the surface.
Like the ruins.
Cool stuff out there.
Well, you have to go to my other favorite vista viewpoint.
I will.
What's
Okay.
that thing down there?
I don't know.
You can see the lamps kind of responding to you as you move around.
Someone actually noticed that when you move, that they turn on, and they're like, "Wait, is that a puzzle?" And I was like, "I actually had never noticed that they were involved with motion at all."
So here's something that's kind of just looks like a neat view, and since we haven't shown areas previous to this, people won't make the connection, but there is a purpose. There is a connection to those things that you're seeing right now.
It's one of those spots where you look back and like, oh, I was over there. This game is amazing.
We're doing it now.
Yeah, 10 out of 10.
So here, this guy's calling him Big Brother.
Except he's little brother. That's Big Brother.
It's the other one.
I love him though. I don't ever want to kill him. Beep, 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 beep. Help, 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 help. Oh, it's Mac.
I'm trying to.
El Kabong.
I really like that robot.
Yeah, I like both these roly robots. They're awesome.
Oh,
you just got.
So the combat is a lot more strategic than Torchlight 2.
Oh yeah!
Yeah, it's a
Wow.
lot more interesting to fight a single monster, that's for sure. The robot, we tried to do a lot of complicated things, and then realized that he was built to smash things, and really eventually just let him follow his passion.
Robot smash!
he's really good at
And
it.
he was much better. He was a much better robot.
He was a lot happier.
Yeah.
So what are we doing here?
All right, so who wants to talk about these? We showed these, I think, in the forest
Yeah.
demo. But for those of you that didn't see it, obviously Hob, there's a lot of combat, and you have glove abilities, and you'll notice in the upper left you have a health ticks and what we're calling energy ticks, and you can upgrade those, right? You can get more of them so that you can take more damage, and you can use your glove abilities more and more. So what we have here is kind of a fallen construct. And this is how you get more stamina. If you happen to find one of these and you break them open, you take out their core, and then you get new energy ticks for yourself.
It's recycling. We're big on recycling.
Yeah.
So, and your stamina or your energy, that regenerates naturally, but health does not.
Right, correct.
So you can upgrade it, but you also have to replenish it on your own.
Yep. Enemies drop health. Sometimes when you cut grass, it drops additional health. Of course, it doesn't there.
I know. I kind of want.
One more. No.
Oh man, because I kind of want to see running through that electricity and how it looks when you.
Should we show it?
Well, it's so cool, but I don't want you to die.
Okay, we have to show it though.
She kind
Yeah.
of wants you to die.
So one of the other things with
I kind of want you to
warp
die,
gloves.
just a little bit.
is you can work through electricity unharmed. If you don't, though, you get fried.
I just love the.
It's a sweet
I
effect.
just-
I had nothing to do with it, so I didn't praise.
The lead animator.
Yeah, as lead animator, I did not oversee that. I delegated that to the sub animators.
Sub-animators.
I like animers.
Animers.
All right, so now we'll go through this reel. You can warp through it or roll through it. Oh, there's another guy.
Uh-oh, there's another one.
He's asking for it. He wants to be punched up that
Backhanded
blue.
me.
No,
I'm gonna lock on. What am I locking on?
I think it's like a rock.
Oh, see, I didn't have enough stamina.
Oh man!
That would make him not look exactly
Run away! Run away! That's
Oh.
my advice.
Listen, the battery in this is something
The one plugged in.
plugged in.
The one plugged in.
Plugged in doesn't have anything to do with it.
Yeah.
Interference in the room. Buttons
Hostile
aren't
crowd.
responsive.
Oh, you don't have those sound cues, right? That makes it
Yeah.
harder.
That's
Yeah,
true.
it is-
It's a
feels
little weird doing combat without the sound effect.
I wish you could call in and do some sounds just for
Oh.
us.
All right, here we go. I will have my revenge.
We place bets.
How many health ticks is he gonna lose? I say 3. Oh,
Watch
you're
Cliff.
so sneaky.
Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, man! Nice one. No losses.
Yeah, no help.
No
we should
whammies.
say you can destroy those guys too.
Yeah,
It's much easier, more gratifying.
it's a lot more fun.
You can also just run away from them, which I love.
Ooh.
That was brutal.
Wrong time.
So here's another warp pad, but it's not on. So a big thing about Hob is trying to, when you run into one of these solutions, oh, here's some health.
I know, they're all the way in the back.
And I'll lose it again when I run through here. But a big part of Hob is when you come to something like this, we try to encourage the player to get off the path to find their way back to the correct path. So we have a lot of clear things of what you're supposed to be doing and what should be working, but then it's up to the player to kind of explore and figure out why they're not and to fix that, because you are fixing the world.
Comfy kid.
Could be mechanism here and here's we're trying to show you that these particular plates are glowing and you can punch with them. Most of the things in the world that you can interact with will have a glow to them and they'll respond to the player. A little bit of a world shift moment there. Oh.
Clank, 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 clank.
It's so hard to watch this without any sound. I feel like everything's broken. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
I love that. It's so cool.
So it kind of
Oh, I
locks
just
the
noticed
two
the
pieces.
light on the grass as it goes up. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's a really neat movement. So what'd you say, Patrick? Like every minute you're gonna see something as big as that shift, probably.
I mean, if you die and replay the same scene over and over, you might. So here we go. Who wants to talk about the health plan?
You did such a good job with this now.
All right.
I mean, the energy.
So like we did with the energy, we don't really have chests in the game or anything like that. So we have to get everything to feel anchored and tied to the world, and that's kind of with the fallen constructs. Those serve a purpose. And with health ticks, which you're about to see, it's a similar thing. We have these plants, and you'll notice there's brambles running up the wall. These are kind of an oyster in the pearl type situation. That if you happen to find these and interact with them, as you'll see, you'll be presented with what essentially is giving an additional health tick. And I love that animation.
I think it's rad. There's like
Thank you.
pulling out hearts.
You're getting your feet up when we go.
You're not gonna have fun.
Knuckles Malone's gonna be out there waiting for you.
I also like that that those health upgrades are in the brambles, which are the asshole plants that'll kill you, and they kill, and you can't fight them. They just take your life, and they'll kill the other world in the world if they run into them.
There's slappy parts to them.
Yeah,
that you don't
they
don't
slap
see
you,
in here,
and
but
you lose health, and you're just like, what? How come I can't fight you? But then all of a sudden they yield up this thing that you really, really need, which I think is great because it kind of is like a microcosm of our world of Hob, where things can be useful and dangerous at the same time.
Yep. So now that we interlocked those two and we raised them, it connected with the other warp pads that were lowered below, and now we can withdraw.
Woo!
And then I'm gonna save because this next part feels scary.
Brian, do we have any questions we can answer real fast before we get into the part that scares Patrick?
Everything scares me.
Mad Shaman Loader asks, what percentage of the background is eventually interactable with versus there for ambience?
It's a bit of a mix. Some of the stuff we've been seeing here you can't get to, but some you can. More so in the overworld outside, there's a lot of it. You can get to almost anything you see, pretty much everything you see. So we try to highlight things earlier in the game that you can get to. So there's not a lot of fluff in the backgrounds.
Please welcome to the show, Kristina Ness, concept artist and scout.
Come-bearing dogs.
Yeah.
Scout's also an animator.
Yes.
He's a jack of all trades.
Alcor wants to come in. Come on. Come on, Harry. Okay, bye.
How far did you guys get?
Right here, we got to this point.
Patrick died twice.
I was trying to
I think
show
like 4
the
times.
effects of dying.
We're keeping a running tally.
So here we have some more of those little robots. They're gonna wake these guys. There's a secret in here. I don't know if I should show it.
You probably should.
Should I?
Yeah.
I don't know. Let chat vote. Should I?
Oh, it's a
Yeah.
Secrets. If so, I'll come back to it.
Oh, it's good.
Go. He has 3 legs to just cling.
So satisfying too. Is anybody voting, Wonder?
People want to see secrets.
They do.
Esoteric Arcade wants to see secrets.
Does anyone not want to see secrets?
Who doesn't want to see secrets?
Probably be unanimous.
All right, close your eyes.
Close your eyes if you don't want to see a secret. Only one person found this at the whole show that I saw.
Yeah, I don't know how to talk about these. Did we? We didn't show any in Forest.
I think the
You
best
see
way to
one in
talk
Forest.
about it. Yeah, you do see one in the forest. I think
You
the
just can't
best way
reach
to
it.
talk about it
Right.
is everything is grounded, right? You mentioned that already, and so you can just go ahead and pick it up. But it's even your sword. Like you don't actually just find a sword like you just did there. But
I'll find a useful sword.
yeah, you'll actually eventually take pieces of broken swords and build your own. So
And that's how you get them, and we're not going to explain what that was too much.
So one of my favorite things about the game and the levels and how everything kind of supports how small our little player is. Like, he almost can't use his giant arm, and then he's teleporting above these like giant chasms in the ground, and a lot of our camera, like the secret shot, he just looked so teeny tiny on this tiny little ledge, and I think I love seeing that throughout the whole game, how little he is.
Yeah, being reminded of how big the world is.
Yeah.
Just a small part. All right, so I'm going to let John talk about this next part here.
Alright, so we've got a monster up here. He is a shaman, what we call him. He uses electricity as his power, and he can warp between these different paths. And as he goes, shoots these lightning down, and summons crabs out of the ground, and they attack you, like what you expect to happen when a shaman shoots lightning in the ground. And you can, he's really hard to fight at this point, because he'll just keep warping around, getting away from you. But you can go and destroy those pillars that are generating electricity for him. And, then
Oh!
What? What did you do?
He won the game.
If we've told you about that knockback once. All right. Short diversion. We've kind of been knocked into a secret area.
I've never seen that happen.
Here, but we're gonna.
We'll fix that.
The shaman really wanted to vote for those secrets.
Here was another secret guy, which I feel like the stamina could help me fight this guy. Sorry, energy.
But we don't have to reveal how you actually get here, right? So we're kind of throwing half
Oh,
the
yeah,
secret. It's a
people are
little
just
bit
gonna be
of a
jumping off
tease.
that now.
I know. We're gonna get some hate mail. All right, back to this.
I like how he just waited for you calmly to pick that up.
I'm gonna destroy this so he can't come back to this one, right, John?
Yeah, so you can't use the ones that aren't electrified anymore. And eventually, Patrick will destroy all 3 of the pillars, and then the guy won't be able to use electric attacks, and it'll be kind of a pushover.
I almost feel like this fight is kind of like a psychological test for people. Whether they're like, oh yes, I can destroy his power from the pillars, or they're just like, No, I'm gonna punch him in the face like a bunch of times.
Yeah, you can get by. You can get by doing that. I think eventually, like you swing at him and you kind of hit the pillar on accident. And you're like,
Yeah. I mean, it's nice seeing people do that, and then they discovered, oh, I can actually break these, and there's an effect of that.
and I love the crabs just angry. They just look angry.
They look pretty crabby.
Mm-hmm.
No.
We should also bring up, we brought up when we talked about the forest a little bit about the monsters and the fact that some monsters, every monster has kind of like their unique thing about them, but not every monster is made for you to just go up and beat the crap out of, right? Like, you actually sometimes have to figure out the environment a little bit before you can actually defeat them.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that was kind of it's kind of been what we're talking about.
Makes life a lot easier when you figure out those secrets.
Yes.
And we set out, we thought we'd make a pretty simple game, keep it to like 7 monsters. And we now have 45. Probably have a few more by the time we release it.
Okay, so, you whiffed that jump scare. He looked embarrassed. Sorry. All right, so we're in this. We've defeated that guy. We come down here. We see more warp pads, so we're going to see what kind of happens here. So this is kind of a loop. Didn't really do anything, so we're going to keep exploring. These.
This part always reminds me of that one level in Heavy Rain where you have to traverse through the electrified.
I don't think I got that far.
It's a weird
terrible
area.
at that.
I got to shave my beard, and I just don't like shaving my beard.
Oh, the shaving the beard that's the whole reason I won't replay it, is because I can't, the shaving is so long.
Just like PTSD from that.
I just like
I
it.
just think straight on through the mashers.
I kind of like more sweet death animations. If you get down with that.
So we powered up a switch which kind of changes the raising and lowering of the configuration of these warp pads. And if we get back up here in time, then we see that now that we switched them out, it gets us to a new area.
You skipped to the pad that was making you go blue.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Fix it.
Can we fix it?
Yeah.
Yes,
So
we
it's
can.
It's got these locks on the side. We need to figure out how to release.
Oh my gosh.
It should be X-ray. Bottle.
There we go. There's one.
Another question for us, Brian?
Sure. Will it launch with something like that that enables people to make custom levels, puzzles, content? That's from Virgin.
Next question.
That'd be a no. We're not gonna.
Yeah.
Release any modding stages.
Do we want to jump into some of these ones we sourced from the forums or something?
Yeah, whatever.
I can sprinkle them
right
through. I don't want to detract too much from what we're seeing.
Okay.
Yeah, but we're skipping the modding editor release this time because it really was like a multiplier on how long everything took us to build Dream Torchlight. So we're hoping we'll get to make more customized content.
Yeah.
We don't have to worry about that.
It's a lot of work.
And it's a lot of like, well, we could do that, but then like, how do we make it work with modding? Like maybe we just shouldn't do that thing.
There was a question on that. It was like, from Nomnot, since you're eschewing procedurally generated environments in favor of handcrafted ones, how is loot being handled? Is there loot? Will it be purposeful, like the environment, or randomly generated?
Marsh.
Well, there isn't the concept of like the vending machine loot. We do have, health and energy and other things you can collect. Don't want to get too far into it, but just killing monsters, it's not really that type of game.
It's not really a loot game.
Yeah, it's not really like you go through and collect different weapons or anything like that.
Well, I mean, you do find things get more powerful.
You get
as the game goes
upgrades.
on.
Let's just come back to this for a second because we walked over this bridge before, right? And we could not move it.
Yeah, this is what you first walked past,
There.
and now we fixed it. And there's a reason you're doing this. In the game, why you need to do this, it's kind of a two-fold dungeon, but...
This is our electric zone. This is the overworld.
Yeah, now we're in another huge area of the game.
That's cool.
So this is what the overworld and electric will look like when people get here and are playing around.
Yeah, and that was it for electric.
That's the electric dungeon. I'm gonna switch our view over.
Thanks for playing.
Yeah.
Some sweet concept art right there.
Good.
Got another question
Yeah,
here.
that was our buddy Justin Oxford doing that sweet production illustration for us.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out.
Got another question here from Mod Shaman Loader. What was the biggest design challenge shifting from a game like Torchlight II to Hob?
Design? Oof. You know,
I mean, when we were making the Torchlight games, we had a bit of a template to follow. I'm not going to say like what game it's similar to, but like maybe you can imagine some other games that the Torchlight was kind of like, and then we ran from there, right? We took it's sort of like this, and then we did, added our own twist to it. But when we had to decide what to do, we had an example to look at, and we could say, okay, we're going to do it like that game, or we're going to do it different, but it made the decision easier. And with this game, it was more like, we could do anything. We can make it like this, or like this, or like this, or like this, and the decisions just became a lot more difficult. And so it took longer for us to know what the game was. And the exploration and the world, like, eventually stood out as one of the most interesting elements and are kind of what the game is about. But there's lots of things it could have been about, and figuring out what it was one of the biggest challenges, I think.
Yes. lots of. I mean, it's so different, right? There's no dialogue. There's no quest givers. So it's things we're still trying to balance of. It's heavily based on exploration, and it's at the player's own pace, and for them to discover things. And that's a tricky thing to do because if you give them too little, it doesn't feel like it's an exploration game. If you give them too much, then we're finding people can be overwhelmed or not know where to go and what to do. So it's kind of trying to find that right tuning for it, and we're still doing that now. I think we're on the right path, but it's always kind of a balance of polish to try to hit the right spot, and it's just something you don't see a lot of games like this. So we're kind of making our own blueprint as we go because we've got our own runic twist on things. So it's pretty unique, and hopefully pull it off.
We've got 2 quick questions from the chat, and then we'll go into questions from the forums. Any Hellboy references? That is one that's come up a couple times.
Yes, we're currently suing them.
I'll
send fan art.
Yeah.
I think we're going kind of reference light this time. Like Torchlight, especially Torchlight 2, had a lot of references in it.
Yeah.
And can you put a number on the average playtime yet?
No.
We know that's real early still.
I will say it's not 60 hours, but it's also not 2 hours. So.
Right.
Yeah. Again, it's hard for us to know. Like when we play it, we don't play it like
with the timer.
Well, with the timer, or like someone who's coming into it for the first time, is because they're gonna be like, oh, what's going on? Like, what's this? Let's look at this neat vista that Patrick carefully crafted. And we go, we've seen that. Run by that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll jump into some questions from the forums. Game looks amazing so far. I have a question about the soundtrack. Is Matt Ullman composing? Sounds like him, but the vibe is different.
Yes, it is Matt.
Yeah, I think I'm not on camera, but I just want to say,
Nope.
Hello! Yes, Matt Ullman is composing, and we actually have a behind-the-scenes video of him coming out 1st of January, and where he talks about how his process is really different on this game than other games. Will the live stream be posted to your YouTube account after Twitch? Yes! That's just there. Okay, how long have you been working on Hob?
So long, you guys.
Too long.
How long has it been?
Couple of years.
2.5 years.
2.5 years. So, yeah. For those that don't know, we were actually working on a different game before Hob, and then we decided to cancel that and do Hob.
So yeah, we said let's just make a quick game in like 8 months.
That's
And
not a joke.
I think that's exactly how it went.
Not a joke.
That other game, though, I found some concept art for it the other day that I had saved. I might have to put that up as like a throwback Thursday.
yeah, we have a really hard time saying like, oh, that's good enough. Let's move on. Like
Yeah.
we keep changing things and making them better, and they grow and grow.
Feature creep.
Yeah, I think a lot of it also the discovery though too that you mentioned before is really finding our footing and understanding what this game represents and is for us.
Mm-hmm.
Finding its own voice and us spending the time to really nurture and cultivate that and make that into something that we're really proud of and feel really great.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Any source of inspiration for the art direction?
Oh man, lots. It's a stylized game, so lots of other stylized games. Honestly, a lot of the inspiration for art, I also take cues from like inspiration just for the general design. Zelda, Ico, Colossus, Shadow of the Colossus, those style of games. A lot from Journey, but it's more, I get more like mood inspiration and less art inspiration from things. And like, okay, less of like, this is what I want the player to see when they look at this scene or this asset or whatever, and more of like, how can I point them in a direction towards feeling something? Because I don't ever want to tell the player like, I'm going to draw an unhappy face, so you should be sad. You know, it's like, how can we guide them towards this mood and craft this mood in this world? So a lot of like, something I see about Hob is it's like a quieter game, and it's kind of one that you should play when it's raining, when you're in a blanket and you're all alone. And so I get more inspiration from games that make me feel like I want to do that. We've also had a ton of really talented artists working at this studio, and they have so much concept art that I can pull inspiration from that super easy as well.
From Reki Bone Crusher of the Pit, made his way up from the pit to our forums to ask this question. Exactly how open is the world? I heard it's considered an open world, but an elaboration on how the levels are connected would be good. Are we talking about branching and looping paths, or does it go further than that?
Oh, Patrick came to this one.
So, you know, with the last video we did with Forest, we kind of ran through some of the areas, but we didn't really point out a lot of the parts that connected to other zones once you come back. So initially we kind of start out a little more closed at the beginning of the game as we're kind of opening up more and more as they go through. But because there's so many different zones, and if you've seen the part where we raise Forest, you do that several times in the game. So you're actually building the world as you play, and all these new areas start to unlock and connect to each other. And once you get glove abilities, you can then access and create shortcuts. So the more you're playing the game, the more it opens up, because the more paths you're opening up that allow more interconnectivity. It's pretty open once you get a lot of the access to a lot of the areas. And then we do other things, you know, like with the warp gloves, so you can get through areas faster. We will have a world map that as you play, you can kind of see where you are and where you've been and where you haven't been yet. But I think it connects in a pretty neat way in a lot of these areas that, like, Forest might be connected to an area that's a little more flat and lower ground. The ground's a lot lower, but because Forest has tall trees, you can get up to access to other areas in the area next to it that you couldn't get to otherwise. So a lot of the terrain and geometry in these areas do factor into the areas next to them, because that might be the only way you can get into certain parts of those areas. So there is a lot of interconnectivity.
Awesome. This is a good one from Marsh, again from Nomnot. Considering the number of what seem to be non-hostile creatures in the world, are any interactions planned for them? Like filling a bestiary, trapping, catching, killing, one of each?
Killing?
No, we have bestiary or murder.
Yeah. You know, there's actually we do have lots of monsters, and then we have lots of just environmental creatures. You saw a couple at the very beginning of the electric dungeon, but
Right. Yeah, these are
Um,
specifically about non-hostile creatures.
yeah, there's definitely a lot out there. I'm not gonna get into details because it's kind of like something you have to play through and experience. But I will say they're not just gonna be running around all the time, and so you'll be able to interact with some of them. And
Yeah, I mean the connection to the world is really important
Yeah.
to the game. So however we can use the creatures to help with that, we will.
Mhm. Yeah, there are interactions.
Yes.
And not just killing.
Yeah,
I'm not just kidding. Yes.
I mean killing, but other
Killing,
things.
but not let's see.
And my goal is that you kind of feel bad when you kill them because they're cute and there's no reason
They're
to
very
kill them.
cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do it.
You will not be forced to murder them.
Someone said something about being able to run away from the robots would be passive achievement completed. Yes, pacifist, I think found it.
Mm-hmm.
These are a little more technical. How will runic accounts be tied to Hob? Can longtime supporters expect to be benefit? I was saying that you thought about that.
So Hop is a single player game.
Mm-hmm.
Because there isn't any online connectivity for players to jump into, we're not attaching runic accounts to the game itself. And that's,
There you go.
yeah, that's pretty much it.
Off-screen Alan has said no
Yeah.
runic accounts
Yeah, I guess
connecting to Hob.
you benefit by following us, and then we made a good game, and then you can play it. And that's
Our
the
gratitude.
connection.
That's what you get.
Yeah, and our gratitude.
We have a couple Torchlight games have been highly replayable either via New Game Plus or Random Dungeon. Will Hob similarly be replayable?
I would say that I think the hope is that once you go through it once, you'll want to do it again, and then there's going to be the people who want to be completionists that'll do every single thing. So I think the replay, it's a different type of replay, but we're hoping for at least a few different replays.
Yeah, there's optional stuff you can find and do. And of course, with this type of game where you're upgrading things, but you don't have to upgrade things. Those are optional things as well, so you can go back and do that.
We have some business questions. Now, do you want to tackle those?
Oh boy, okay.
You want to squeeze in so if they can see you.
Sure.
If we're planning to use Datalic as a publisher for regional releases, and why not Xbox?
So we haven't announced any publishers for the game. We're going to be releasing directly ourselves on Steam and PlayStation 4. But that's all the news we have for publishers right now.
Yeah.
For, was it Xbox? Wasn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for us, doing two platforms at the same time, doing the sim chip on those was a large enough challenge. Sony came to us and they were really excited about the game. They're really adamant about working with us on it, and they've been incredible partners for us through the entire experience. And we've been really blessed with that partnership, so we're really happy with them. We want to take one small challenge at a time that we could.
Exactly. Sounds great. Okay. There was one last one. The question I was saving for last, everyone's favorite question: is there an estimated window of release right now? Again, we haven't announced any launch date. We are looking at just next.
I mean, yes, there is.
I mean, there is one, but it's a secret that you have to find in the game. Figure that one out. Yeah, we've not announced a launch date yet, but next year.
We will be happy to get it out to you.
Yes.
As soon as it's good enough for you guys to play it.
Okay. Will the soundtrack be released
which is really good.
free
You know,
digitally?
good enough is really, really good. So.
Questions about our soundtrack release?
We haven't talked in detail about that.
Steam has their whole soundtrack. I imagine we're going to put it up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The soundtrack sounds really cool.
Yeah.
So we keep getting previews.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and I think that's about it. That's it from the community questions. That's it for Twitch questions. Thank you guys so much for joining us and tuning in. We will have this on YouTube, and we'll have highlights on Twitch afterward. Please come and join us in the forums if you have more questions or didn't get your question answered. We'll be popping in there and answering questions in the next couple days. And thank you for joining us.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.